right back on safety. Alright.
Hey YouTube, it's Meanie from Bam's Tactical.
Hey, it's J-Pat.
Alright, so we're going to tell you about a course we took from Tactical Response. It's their fighting rifle course. Tell them about the course.
You got it. You know, it covers most things of any training course, but, you know, focuses on, you know, cover and concealment, different firing positions, you know, team tactics, you know, weapon transitions, you know, like those kind of things.
Alright, so we're going to start off with the gear we brought and used in the course. I'll start off. They recommend that you bring 5 rifle magazines, 3 pistol magazines, and then pouches to keep them in. So that's all I brought. I brought a simple quad M4 magazine holder. Brought a dual Glock magazine holder. An old Army surplus holster with a retention strap across the top. And that's all I brought. I brought a 6 magazine, and good thing I did, because it ended up being, one of them ended up being faulty and I had to get rid of it. But that plus my rifle were all I brought. And by I mean that's all I brought, I mean I used a belt from Walmart to hold everything up. I wore jeans and t-shirts and nothing fancy, so when they say that's the minimal gear you need, that really is the minimal that you need. You can get by with it. Talk about what you brought.
I ran my tack vest. It's got 3 mags on the vest for your AR, and I had 3 Glock mags up here, and then I also had a double mag pouch, so I had 4 more AR mags on my belt, and then I had my Glock holster on my other hip, and then I had my AR and my single point sling. I mean, that's what I ran. I had a little more ammo than most people.
Yeah, like I said, I brought the minimal. I only had 5 rifle magazines with me at most times, and through most of the drills, which we're about to talk about in a second, you don't use all of your ammo. They purposely cut you short, and we'll talk about that in a second, but there were a couple of times that I actually ran out of ammunition because I had less magazines than most of the guys that I was going with. We're going to talk about the drills real quick. And the first day, you can go check it out on getoffthex.com. A lot of people describe the weather, but it was a torrential downpour.
Oh yeah.
And you start off being about as far away from the target as we are from the camera right now. And it's really just to familiarize you with your weapon. I know most people think that you're familiar with your weapon because you go sit at a bench and you shoot at a paper target, and that's, you know, how we felt going into this as well. And we learned a lot. And the first day, it's really about reloading and transitioning to your sidearm. And that's one of the things. I was a big fan of the single point sling. Some guys I saw get off the X really didn't like their single point. They wanted a 2-point. I don't know why.
I liked my single point, but it kept getting hung up on this vest, which is the vest is more than the sling. But if I had it sitting up here, then it transitioned perfect. I mean, never had any problems going shoulder to shoulder or anything.
Yeah, and with me, since I had nothing on my chest for this, mine, when I would drop it, it would just slide straight to my side. I could pull my sidearm, and it was never a problem. I love the single point sling. It worked great for me. Now my draw was a little slower than most people, because as I was showing you earlier, I had to actually remove the retention strap before I could draw the pistol. But my Glock also ended up cleaner than almost everybody else's that first day, because it was completely covered, and they actually had us crawling through the mud. And
whereas, you know, I have the Serpa. I don't know if you can see it from here. You know, half the time I would draw, and then it would already have mud on it because I was laying on my side.
And luckily it's a Glock, and Glocks never misfire. So
ever.
That's one of the things we learned, and we'll talk about later. Alright, so some of the drills we ran, like I said, the whole first half of the first day, it was just reload your magazine, you know, learning how to move. We were just moving side to side, reloading, transitioning to your pistol, reloading the pistol, things like that. They talked about you know, the fast, fight, assess, scan, top off. And they harped on that a lot, which once you make it a habit, you think about it every time. All right, you know, gonna look around, gonna top off my whatever weapon I have, and then I'm gonna be able to put it away. All right, so then the first drills we worked on were buddy drills with two-man teams, and we were just using cover. One person would fire while the other person reloaded, and then vice versa. What was cool about this drill is they told us to load our mags with 5, 10,
15.
and 15, and one full one. And we started with
with
the full one, and then the other 3 magazines, they said, don't think about it, just put them away. So when you just grab one, you don't know what you're grabbing.
Yeah.
And it was cool because we started backing up to get behind some cover, and then you had to hurry and reload because you didn't know how much ammo your buddy had.
Right.
You don't know if he's got the 5, the 10, or the 15, and you had to be ready to go. So when he yelled cover, and he came back into cover,
you were already
you come
fired.
out. And one of the things that I really liked about the way they ran the course was when we practiced together before this, if anything went wrong, we just, all right, kill the drill, we'll start over from the beginning.
Right.
The second time we ran this drill, we were backing up, and I hit the cover. I mean,
knocked the barrels over.
Heels overhead, fell backwards, you know, gun in the air as I'm shooting, and all the instructor yelled was, watch your muzzle. We were going to finish that drill no matter what. We had to deal with the cards that we dealt ourselves right there. So
and
we said beforehand.
Yeah, he was going to start shooting when we got behind the cover while I reloaded, but
since I'm scrambling to get myself behind the cover, he was there first safely, so he started the cover fire first while I got myself set up. So it was cool because you deal with these high stress situations, and when you learn and practice something in a high stress situation, and when you get to an actual high stress situation, then you got it's ingrained in your mind that way.
Right.
Then we did to end the day. It finally stopped raining, and where we were shooting was about
a couple inches of water on the ground
at least. And we started doing some single man moves, some serpentine, weaving in and out of barrels, and
without looking where you're going.
Yeah, so you're looking at
on the target all the time.
Never looking down. It kind of looks like the marching band kids do, you know, because they got their thing up and they're moving short steps and they're not looking around. It's same idea, but you know, people were dropping mags in the water and they were sinking, and they weren't finding them until the next day. I mean, it was real tough environment, but that actually made the course better because you got to push yourself to the limit and see where you were. And I think is that how we finished the first day, if I remember correctly?
So dropped all my mags in the water.
Yeah. All right, so we came back the second day, and then we did more 2-man and 4-man tactics. Bounding forward, bounding backwards, bounding side to side, and then we did, and those were pretty straightforward. You know, one person was shooting while the other person was moving. Tap the guy as you come by, so he knows that you've gotten past them and there's no trouble, and then he can top off and get ready to move himself. What I kind of liked was the
end of the day when we did the 4.
Yeah, 2 teams of 2 bounding forward and backwards. Because one person was the communicator, the other one was the fighter. And I liked that because you never had to, I was the fighter, he was the communicator in our group. I never had to take my eyes off the target at all. You know, he was telling me when to move forward and when to move backwards. He was right there, he had me by the back, telling me forward or back.
When to reload.
Yeah, everything. So I never took my eyes off the target, and all he did was worry about the other team, tell me what they were doing, where they were going, when we should move, and it was really smooth. It worked really well. And I think that's how the second day ended.
That's how it ended.
All right, so now we're going to talk about some things that we really learned in the class and that have really stuck with us, and then we're going to finish with some gear changes that we've made.
Right on. First day, right off the bat, starting with our pistol that close, I mean, both of us had our grips all kinds of crazy. I mean, they showed us a way better grip on how to hold your pistol, and immediately we noticed like that was a way better way to hold it.
What I'd always been taught was you hold it on the bottom of the gun here.
Hand
And that's you watch Hollywood, everything else, yeah, like sipping a teacup, you know. But that's how you always see it. That's how you grow up seeing it. Everybody in the movies, Law and Order, they're shooting it like this. Well, what they taught us was this other thumb is going to follow the length of the gun forward right here, and it's actually going to create this U with your pointer finger here, and you're actually just cradling the gun between the two hands, and you have a much sturdier grip this way. And it was one of the things that they really harped on in the class, and it was really tough on me, I know, because I'd made it a habit to hold it the other way, and the whole class I was fighting that. Every time I drew my sidearm, I was having to struggle to think about how to hold it. But now that I've practiced it, I've realized it really has made me a better shooter with my pistol.
Right.
Another thing was...
with the pistol, right, the same thing with the grip is focusing on just the front sight.
Oh yeah. You know, as you focus on something, other things get blurry, get in focus. And if you really make that front sight be what you focus on and then just overlay it on what you're aiming at, you always hit what you're aiming at. In the rain all day long, oil washes out of your gun.
And they got hot, so it burns off.
And we really, you know, with our Armalite ARs, we really didn't have any problems with
the bolt or anything.
Failure to extract or failure to fire. We had some double feeds, and that's more of a magazine problem than the gun problem.
Feed, yeah.
But still, we had to rack the bolt a lot. It's one of the things we learned, the tap, tug, run the bolt, and it really did fix a lot of problems itself. You know, even a double feed, most of the times when you just tap, tug, run the bolt, it'd shoot the two bullets out, and then it'd reload, and you could keep going. But
mine messed up one time really bad because of the buffer spring retaining pin broke. But
we had an extra rifle with us, and our only mistake was that we didn't bring it out of the truck with us.
So in the middle of the drill, I was running back to the truck to get another rifle.
But and they had an extra rifle there if anybody's had broken. Luckily, there's enough gun lovers there with lots of gear that when something broke, somebody else had a spare part for it. Like there's a guy who broke his stock
buffer tube, freaking broke in half.
I had a spare A2, one of the big old bulky ugly ones. Gave it to him so he could finish up the second day. But what we learned is the oil, when it rubs off, that bolt really gets hard to pull back. Before I talk about the grease, I started the day, I went the whole weekend with these fingerless gloves, and that's one of the things that I've changed since then, is I've gone to full finger gloves, because as you're racking that slide every time, and what they taught us was to do it with one hand. So while you're here, you come here, and when you reload, tap, tug, and you're doing it with one hand here, just your finger, just on the side here, pulling it all the way back. Alright, so you're not looping both fingers on it, you're just doing one. And when I did that, I had cuts all over my finger by the end of the weekend.
By the end of the day, yeah, it's digging in that one finger the same place every time.
So the full finger glove helps. The other thing that helped was after the first day, we ran to Walmart and got some lithium grease, and just stuck a bunch of fingerfuls of grease in the gun, and I don't know if we had any problems the second day.
Nope.
The grease made a huge difference. That, and we got rid of, well, I can show you. I got rid of one of my problems. I've kept it mostly because whenever we go out training again, I want to be able to practice the failure to feed, the multiple feeds. And so it's a training tool now, but during the weekend, it took a few times before I realized that was the magazine that was always screwing up on me.
Right.
So one of the other things I learned.
Another big thing, trigger reset. They started that real early the first day, but I mean, it took me probably to the end of the day because once I'd start a drill, I'd completely forget about it. I mean, what they would say is, whenever you fire, you hold the trigger all the way to the rear, and get back on target, and then you're slowly letting it forward until you hear it click. You can feel it click as well, and then when you're back on target, you don't have all that trigger draw to fire the next round. You're already all the way right against the, hammer, so you could just boom right next round. So, it makes you a lot more accurate. So you're not pulling while you're trying to stay on target, and it makes it a lot faster.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed is it gave me a better grip, because as I pull the trigger, I'm just keeping that grip strong.
Your one finger's not floating around.
As the kicks and I get it back on target, and I'm still strong, and then just a little release, then go again, and it works great. I've used it ever since, and when I go shooting, and it is probably the #1 thing that has helped me be a better shooter that we learned there. What else? And we learned the communication stuff. Some guys who were there had taken classes before, and they were wanting to, you know, he would yell cover, and then the other guy would yell shooting, and then you would hear bullets going off. And one of the things that they really talked about in the class was you don't need to say shooting, they hear the gun going off.
Right.
So when he yells cover, I don't have to waste a breath yelling shooting, I'm just leaning out and I'm starting to fire at the target. And he knows that he's covered because he can hear me shooting.
Someone shooting.
And that worked well. What I liked is no matter what was happening in a jam or empty magazine, they expected you to cover, no matter who you're working with. So
if you're not shooting, you better be topped off and scanning, ready to go.
And what I liked is there's a couple of times where people had legitimate things go wrong with their rifles, and one guy was down to his pistol in one drill, and the other guy still had rifle, and he'd shoot a magazine, it emptied, yell cover, the guy would lean out with his pistol, boom, 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 and back and forth. Well, then the guy ran out of pistol ammo. Well, the guy over there still had rifle ammo. So, or no, the guy ran out of rifle ammo is what it was, and the guy still had pistol ammo. Well, he reaches over, his rifle's not working anymore, so he grabs a magazine out of his vest, puts it in his rifle, and keeps fighting. And it showed that, you know, you're never out of the fight as long as you've got bullets and a gun to shoot the bullets.
Right.
There was one point where a guy had put all his empty magazines in his dump pouch, and the guy next to him, trying the same tactic, reaches in and pulls out empty magazines, and the instructors got pissed and just started throwing the empty magazines all over the place. He said, why would you pick up an empty magazine? That's how you get people killed. Because now people are, you know, scrounging through your empty magazines. You can save magazines with bullets in it, but you don't need to save an empty magazine.
Right.
You win the fight first, then you can go pick up your empty magazines. Alright, so, you got anything else off the top of your head?
No.
I just want to talk about some gear things that I changed, other than the gloves. Oh, another thing that really helped was electronic ear protection.
You wouldn't hear much of the instruction if you didn't have those.
Yeah, you didn't have to constantly take your ear protection on and off, because, you know, it amplifies the quieter sounds and it deafens the louder sounds. Those worked great. But a couple of things that I've changed since then is I actually went and got me a sturdy belt. It's thin enough that I can run it through my belt loops, but it's sturdy enough, kind of like the old GI pistol belts. It's good nylon, and it's not going to break. You can go look at the SOE videos about them. It's a good belt. The other thing I got is I watched a lot of guys with you know, how they had their stuff aligned, and that's one of the things I came to this course thinking I want to learn as much as possible. I don't want to come in thinking I know everything, and I want to watch everybody else work. And almost everybody there had their ammunition on their chest, whether it was a chest rig or a vest. And I was like, well, if I'm going to put the ammo on my chest, I might as well get a vest, get some plates in it and stuff like that. So you can watch one of the other videos I've got on the Mayflower APC, but this is what I went ahead and got, just so I have a little more ammo on my chest. Like I said, I brought the bare minimum number of magazines, and I was running out sometimes. I actually did a drill where a guy had a malfunction in his rifle, and I had to cover him for a few minutes, and I was running really low on ammunition in that drill. But you know, I don't see any point in having a chest rig. You know, if I'm going to just carry ammo, I'm going to carry it on my belt. If I'm going to put something on my chest, I'm going to put some plates between me and that bad guy. So.
Yeah, me, like, I mean, I did the vest because I already have it. I didn't want to go buy anything just for the class. I mean, I had more ammo than most people. I don't think I ever got to my last mag but one time. And like I didn't even have one in this side because I couldn't even reach over there whenever I was holding the gun reloading. But I mean, yeah, I think next time I definitely want to get something where the ammo isn't on my chest, just on the belt. Because like I love the single point sling, but it kept getting hung up on these mags up here from my Glock, and then I have to mess with it before during the drill. But I mean, everything else worked great for me.
The only other thing I noticed was about the sights on rifles. In the rain, the only people who never had any trouble at all were the people with iron sights.
Right.
Because you had trouble with fog, you had trouble with water on the lenses, you had trouble with once it got soaked. Yeah, the backdrop was dirt, and it was hitting the dirt, and the mud was flying back and hitting us.
Notice all the mud specks on mine.
I've still got muds on the front of my sight, and I've scrubbed it. I mean, we got mud everywhere, and so the people with iron sights actually never had a problem. It's something I'd never thought about before, shooting in the rain, how it could mess up your sights. The fancier, and he's got an EOTech, I've got a Trijicon ACOG, and I don't know if you ever had a problem. Mine started fogging real bad the first day, and
I never fogged up. It just, I mean, when it got rain on it, I mean, it was hard to see the red dot. Yeah. I mean, especially definitely with the mud. I wiped it off a couple times during drills.
So sometimes simpler is better. Well, I think that's about it. It's tactical response. It was their fighting rifle course. It was the one in Bastrop. We live in Texas, and we're planning on. Well, I don't know. I'm definitely going to take another course from them.
Definitely.
Hopefully, as soon as April. Definitely, at least by November, we're going to take the next stage in there. We got some more cameras. We're just waiting for a chance to go out, and we're actually going to try to make some videos showing you these drills and giving you examples and walking through them, stuff you can do at home if you want. It's definitely no substitute for what you do with them, but it'll help because the instructors are right there next to you the entire time, helping you, correcting you,
yelling at you,
and helping to add to the stress of the situation, which is what you really need so that you're ready for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, well, I hope you've enjoyed the video. We'll have more coming towards you. Got anything else?
No, I think that's it. They say when you need it and don't have it, you sing a different tune.
Thanks for watching.
Well. You bastard.
I just farted.
I'm going to do it in the middle and you're just going to smell it.
Are you ready now?
No. Okay, I'm ready.
This is a lot easier with one person.
Yeah, probably.
I'm just thinking about laughing this whole time.